Hello and welcome back everyone to Freelancer on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries, and in this episode we have successfully made it to the Tau 23 system as we are still attempting to escape from Leeds. Also, this jump hole dumps you into a radiation field. You will be constantly taking hull damage while you're in here.
Jesus. These environments are getting pretty dangerous.
Yes.
Rich deposits of beryllium and niobium have been found.
If you go deep enough and stay long enough in the radiation field, your ship will in fact explode because it deals a pretty significant damage over time effect on your boats.
For you see, every atom of a radioactive element acts like a bullet, flying near the speed of light. It penetrates all kinds of surfaces. When I mean penetrate, I mean it just absolutely and indelibly penetrates surfaces.
Your party is cleared to land. Professor, land on the base. Cress is awaiting your arrival.
And we also get to land on Kali Base in order to purchase up a bunch of our shield batteries that we spent, as well as our nanobots. I think Kali Base is actually the first base that we have been to that actually sells level 5 shields. But I don't think that we actually get one here. I don't really remember when we got our first level 5 shield. It might not even be on screen, come to think of it. Also, you ready for unnecessary aggression, Mr. Cloud?
He's holding a gun. I can see it in his hand. And he's trying to hide it.
State your business.
My name is Quintain. I'm here to see Cress.
Colonel Cress sees no one.
He'll see me.
He sees no one.
Don't go and do that. Now that I've got your attention, take us to see the Colonel.
I think, my friend, you misunderstand your position. I'm expendable.
Very expendable.
And then he pulls out his gun.
Dr. Quintain.
Cress.
I'm pleased to see that you're all right after all. And you brought protection. Very wise.
Yes. My people of my men find this very, very funny.
And that's the only time we will get to interact with Cress's bodyguard.
It's all right. Nameless bodyguard number 1 and nameless bodyguard number 2. They've served their purpose.
To continue our research.
We have facilities at your disposal, of course.
Please, if there's one thing that this game has gone across numerous times, is that you should never, ever get between a man and a barroom.
Caused quite a stir among our enemies.
What enemies? The Rhinelanders?
You see, we get so much work done after we arrive at the table.
Give me a straight answer. Who do you work for, Colonel?
The Order.
You work for Aurelian?
Despite what you may have heard, we are only interested in freedom and peace.
If that's so, then why all of the attacks?
I understand your suspicion, but
so this is us getting some background a bit on the one commonality between all of the rogue factions throughout all of the systems.
If I'm right.
The piracy for most systems is actually run by the Order itself, which is a conglomerate of a bunch of these negative government factions.
To the artifact. It's kept in a sealed
I
titanium.
bet you would have never seen that coming.
Very well. That shouldn't be difficult.
Because, you know, players who are introduced to a new lore and a new world and a new galaxy, they have to take things at face value, not assuming that people are, you know, being
I'm going myself.
duplicitous with them.
No. But if, as you say, your enemies are our enemies, you won't deny me this.
Or me. If you're going, I'm going.
Thanks, Juni. Anyway, get some repairs done.
Well, please, do take some water.
Repair complete.
Alright, so do we actually have the level 5 shield available? We can purchase the dragoon lasers, but we're not going to purchase dragoon lasers. They're only class 4 weapons after all.
Cargo hall. Loaded into cargo hall.
Sell off the H fuel that we got. I'm not sure if we're supposed to sell off the H fuel here or wait until we actually get over into Kyoto space, but
that's right, because what if you go to one vendor who values your merchandise at one price, but you actually were supposed to wait longer to go to another vendor because he values your merchandise, although it's the same stuff, at a higher price.
All right, we are going to buy the Pyros. Let's see, they have Class 5 weapons that we're not allowed to purchase because we don't have good. Yeah, we're not on good enough faction terms for them to sell us that. And we didn't even check to see the shields. Damn, we should have checked shields. Well.
So I see. The better terms you are on with the respective factions, the more your boat and your weapons and even your playstyle will start to resemble those factions with whom you've fallen in well.
Kind of. To be perfectly honest, for the story, for the normal story campaign, you never get the ability to actually get with positive factions with anyone other than the Order itself, and that's going to happen towards the very end of the game. And the reason why is because even during free play, you don't stick around in any systems long enough to build positive rapport with those factions. Like, we spent a good deal of time in Liberty, and right when we would have normally gotten to the one of the higher fraction brackets in Liberty, well, the plot kicked us out. And Bretonia, we only get like 2 free play sessions in Bretonia before they kick us out. We're gonna get like 3 play sessions in Kyoto, but then we're gonna get permalocked into story progression after that. So.
Well, I mean, this game is decent, and I would think a decent game would have a reward ready for you if you decided to keep using the stuff that is more closely aligned with factions you deal with earlier in the game. Like
it's supposed to be perfectly honest. It's why the faction system is here. It's just that the campaign story doesn't really allow you to cash in on those rewards.
Right, like just despite your personal inclinations and your choices, that there is a clear and best move as to which factions you're supposed to be with and which weapons you're supposed to be using.
As Annotations Granite mentions here, if you decide to play Pirate, you are required to know where a majority of the jump holes are. So it's a really good thing that the story campaign actually denotes where somewhere between a third and half of the usable jump holes are. Because again, as if you're a pirate, then you can't use the jump gates that actually connect systems because, well, the jump gates are all owned by the military, all owned by either the military or the trade federations that are found throughout each system. And you know, pirates have very low reputation for both of those sides.
Yeah, not a very popular route to take is the one that forces you to take the long way around. Nobody wants to take the long way around.
To be honest, though, the pirate method of going through systems is actually viable, specifically for trade routes, because you can end up cutting out entire systems for longer trade routes. I know that the pirate jump points are specifically required for, if not construction equipment, then diamonds, in order to make those, you know, more or less profitable. Because if you take a normal government route with diamonds in order to get maximum profits, the flight takes like a full fucking hour.
We're almost there. Take the train.
Ain't got that kind of time, baby.
All right. And so we are almost arriving at planet Kyushu.
After we cross the Pacific Galaxy.
No, we crossed the Tau. We crossed the Tau and Kyushu solar systems. So, but yes, we have successfully made it into the Tokyo system, and the Tokyo system is Space Japan.
Think I'm feeling Japanese. I think I'm feeling Japanese. I really think so. Don't think I'm feeling Japanese. I think I'm feeling Japanese. I really think so.
Don't. So yes, one of the more interesting things that we'll get into as the story goes on is that Juni actually has a lot of roots in Space Japan, and it was kind of notated all by her physical appearance. Because yes, a lot of the space factions are in fact denoted by their ethnicity. They're not supposed to be that, but it's very clearly that. Bretonia is space England, Rhineland is space Germany, Kyoto is space Japan, and Liberty is space America.
Right, like so they planted the seeds of the tropes early, so that now that we're going to other worlds, so you're like, okay, I was already well prepared for this.
Miss Zane, I was told you would be coming. I'm Lord Hakera. I am the prefect of Honshu. Is there a problem?
I'm sorry, you're just not what I expected.
You expected a terrorist, then. I served the order to help my people, Mr. Trent.
Wait, this isn't Star Trek guy, is it?
He's not Spock.
Unfortunately, that will not be easy. The artifacts in the museum.
I mean, he probably was in Star Trek for a little while because this game's got a lot of famous voice actors. But I know he's definitely not Spock.
Please excuse me.
I'm pretty sure he's also not Brett Spiner.
One of my operatives in Rhineland. This may be news.
So I would think that would be a pretty easy jump to go from a lore about space to a game that takes place in space.
Here too. To get to them, we're going to have to split up for a while.
What am I supposed to do around here while you're gone?
Yeah, you should try to fit in a little. Maybe get some work. By the sound of things, this may take a while.
Put down the beer and pick up a nice warm sake. A little rice wine.
Oh, come on. Sake is better cold. You know that.
No, dude. You sound like somebody who's never had sake.
I have never had sake.
Exactly.
All right. So by hitting level 13, we now have the ability to get a majority of the weapon systems that they're selling in New Tokyo. However, with the Pyros that we picked up and the advanced Skyrails that we're running, we don't actually want to equip any of the weapons here, with the exception of. Actually, no. We don't want anything that they're selling here. Yeah.
I don't want anything that you're selling here.
They do sell the improved countermeasure dropper, which is, okay, but we don't actually care about the countermeasures because the only thing that the countermeasure droppers ever actually are good for is stopping missiles. And since the majority of the time you can shoot down the missiles that are coming at you, the countermeasure dropper is just kind of pointless.
But the countermeasure dropper activates automatically?
No, it does not. You still have to fire it yourself.
Oh.
I do wish that we needed a torpedo launcher at some point. There was a mission originally that required you to have a cruise cruise disruptor launcher, but that's why we already have one of those. So
Trent really just bowed to the shop vendor, huh?
We're in Space Japan. We have to do Space Japan customs.
I guess, that it is nice and refreshing and hopeful, by the way, that as humanity ventures off of this godforsaken, polluted, and destroyed planet Earth that we've already found ourselves in the year of our Lord when we're recording this game, that at least social customs, graces, and recognition of other people's cultures is not lost on humanity after the fact.
We just saw actually a really nice trade run that I've never actually done. Engine components between Magellan and California. I wonder if that's actually any good. Anyway, this is the Hawk Light Fighter. That is the next boat that we're going to attempt to get into. We can't get into it now because we don't have anywhere near enough cash. I have done this run with the Drake, and I will be honest, I actually like the Drake quite a bit, but getting into the Hawk is just better. So, yeah. And there are runs that I would actually recommend you hold off from getting into the Hawk so you can actually get into the Barracuda, because the Barracuda is a heavy fighter, and at the end of the game you're going to be running heavy fighters over light fighters, guaranteed, because the ship that the Order sells you is a heavy fighter.
So you're just supposed to endure and put up with the challenges until the game just affords you better boats later on anyway?
Not really. Be safe, everybody.